We started this journey back in late February at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We'll wrap it up here today in September at Portland International Raceway. Race fans, welcome to Championship Saturday. Time to get things underway with the drivers of the USF2000 program, and joining me here today is Matt Clark, the USF Juniors point leader, coming here to Portland just to kind of sample things out, see what it'll be like for next year. You end up coming away with a race win yesterday. The chaos in front of you. Let's first talk about the race win. How emotional was that to come here to have some fun and learn and end up being on top of the podium?
I mean, it was incredible for both myself and the team. We only found out we were running this race this Tuesday, so to come here this weekend and get the job done, it's a great confidence boost to take that into the championship round for USF Juniors and for next year as well.
Let's talk about going into today now. You have that race win. You came here for the experience. You got the win behind you. What's the mindset for today? You know that there's a bunch of guys running for a championship. We'll talk more about that before we wrap up the pre-race here. What's your mindset? What's your strategy today?
Yeah, the championship battle is very close, and we start a little bit deeper in the pack today, so I think it's about being smart, making sure that I complete the laps, get the experience for next year.
All right, let's talk about that championship battle really quickly. Obviously, Miles Rowe, Jace Denmark, Michael D'Orlando, the three drivers in this scrap right now. If you watched the race yesterday, chaos at the start. Miles Rowe gets into the back of his teammate Jace Denmark. They end up going out of the race. D'Orlando able to come through for a good finish. That puts him right back in the fight. Just 7 points separate the top three drivers as we go into the race here right now. Jace Denmark's going to start in the pole position. If he sweeps the entire day, gets the fast lap, leads the most races, leads the most laps, he secures the championship. But Miles Rowe, if he finishes P2, Mac, as long as he has fast lap of the race, he scores the championship. You're in your own fight in USF Juniors. Give me a little thought. In 2 weeks, we're going to Dakota for your championship. What's the mindset for those drivers right now?
For them, it's so close. I think it's about winning, right? Everything's on the line today. Like you said, Championship Saturday, it's kind of do or die time.
It is, and that's what we're looking for here right now. This battle is going to be crazy. The big thing about Portland is, of course, the festival chicane. The opening corner, the right-left-right combination. We've seen so much chaos there in all the categories, to be honest. We'll see what happens here in USF2000 today. We're obviously going to give you the grid here momentarily. But, Mac, let's talk a little about USF Juniors. First year for the program, the developmental series leading into USF2000. You're in the middle of a battle with two teammates, very much like Michael D'Orlando. You're going up against Alessandro DiTullio and Sam Corey from VRD Racing. You versus them when we get Dakota, a triple header there. Nervous? What's the feeling?
Yeah, nervous and excited. It's kind of like mixed emotions, right? The season's coming to a close. We have a nice little cushion with the points, but it doesn't mean we can rest. Still pushing very hard, but also at the same time, got to be smart, got to finish the races. Really just looking for that scholarship.
That's 2 weeks' time in Austin, Texas. We'll be down there, that fantastic racetrack, to wrap up USF Juniors. One of the big things yesterday was IndyCar was on the racetrack before the USF 2000 race. Tell me how much that changed the racetrack. We tested on Thursday, green track. Friday morning green, you guys go out for the race and all of a sudden there's lots of rubber. Did it grip up? Did it get greasy? What was the track like after IndyCar?
It was a little bit greasy. I think, the temperature here in Portland, as well as our Firestone rubber, doesn't play too well with our Cooper rubber, so the balance of the car definitely shifted a little bit. The track was a little bit greasy, but we'll see how it is this morning after practice.
We're watching Matt Clark, folks. He's going to put on a show here, starting again near the front. He's having a great weekend so far. But again, this battle comes down to three drivers, all second-year competitors. Miles Rowe, Jace Denmark, and Michael D'Orlando. This is a head-to-head fight for over $400,000 in scholarship. We'll see which driver is able to come out front. All of them, of course, under extreme pressure. Second-year drivers, that's interesting. Obviously, you did, your first year in USF Juniors. You're going to go to USF2000 next year. Do you have a different mindset coming in as a rookie when you come next year, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of got the win off my shoulders yesterday,
right,
but
yeah.
When you're a rookie, you kind of have something to prove, You want to start the season strong and you want to get points out of the gate. So I think it is a little bit more different than being a second-year driver. Usually in your second year, you're a bit more mature. But as a rookie, you want to come in with that first punch.
That's it. You want to make the statement, right?
Yeah.
This year really has been about the second-year drivers. Only two drivers right now in the top 10 in their first year, Jagger Jones and Nikki Hayes. Everybody else second-year drivers. So USF 2000 really showing that kind of concept, that mindset that you do 2 years at each level, learn the tracks, learn the series the first year, and go for the win in year number 2. One of the drivers that we're going to see here today is going to go away with $400,000, and they'll be on the grid in Indy Pro 2000 next year. And of course, Louis Foster getting that championship yesterday. He'll be on track again later on today. We'll have a pre-show for that one later on this afternoon. But right now, we're going to let Matt Clark go get suited up. He's got to go racing today. Folks, USF 2000, the final race of the 2022 season up next. Right after this quick break, we'll come back with the driver lineup. welcome to the Grand Prix of Portland. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, and we are set now to cap off the championship for the Cooper Tires USF2000 program. These drivers started off back in February at St. Petersburg. $400,000 up for grabs for the champion to move to Indy Pro in 2023. This is going to be a battle. 3 drivers in the fight. Let's have a look at the grid as they get set to go for their final race of the triple header. 20 drivers ready to roll off here. 10 rows of Tatis USF22 race cars. Time to get things underway. Row number 10, his debut here in USF2000 from Canada, Lucas Mann in the number 34 for Turn 3 Motorsports, starting 20th. Inside, another driver making his debut here this weekend in USF2000, one of our USF junior drivers, Ethan Ho in the number 16, running for VRD Racing. Moving up to row number 9, Nicholas D'Orlando had great speed yesterday, but an incident dropped him to the tail. Keep an eye on the number 93 of D'Orlando for Exclusive Autosport. Another driver to watch starting alongside him, Jagger Jones in the number 3, a winner earlier in the year, Barber Motorsports Park. Jones for Cape Motorsports, starting in 17th. Row number 8, Ivagoras Papasavas in the number 6 for J. Howard Driver Development, starting 16th, alongside his teammate Danny Dazelski, just 14 years of age. Dazelski in the number 8, starting in 15th. Moving now to row number 7, Spike Kolbecker on the outside from St. Louis, Missouri for Turn 3 Motorsport, the number 33, starting 14th. Alongside him from Mexico for J. Howard Driver Development, the rookie Jorge Garcias in the number 9, rolling off from P13. Row number 6 on the outside, the Kiwi Jacob Douglas in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosport. A couple of top 6 finishes. He's had a great weekend so far. He'll have to work his way from the outside of row 6, starting in 12th, alongside his teammate, making only his 4th start here in USF 2000. That is Joey Brienza in the number 91. Brienza starting in 11th. Into the top 10 now, starting on the outside of row number 5. It will be Dylan Christie in the number 11 for D-Force Racing. He'll start 10th alongside Billy Fraser, the second of our 2 New Zealand drivers. It'll be Fraser, who was on the podium yesterday in race number 2. He'll start 9th, so keep an eye out for that pink Corpay machine. Row number 4, starting on the outside, it'll be Christian Weir in the number 32 for Turn 3 Motorsports. And alongside him, the young driver out of Canada who won yesterday, the point leader in the USF Juniors program. He'll look to secure that championship in 2 weeks' time at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That is Matt Clark from Campbellville, Ontario, Canada. Came in here as a fact-finding mission to get a feel for the USF 2000, where he'll be next year. He ends up going away to a huge victory yesterday for D-Force Racing. Matt Clark, the rookie in the number 12, starting in the 7th position. Row number 3, the first of our trio of championship contenders, Michael D'Orlando out of Hartsdale, New York, in the Cape Motorsports number 4, just 6 points back, rather, from your point leader. This is the fight to see who's going to win the scholarship worth over $400,000. D'Orlando rolling off from P6. Inside of that row, a young rookie really having his best weekend of the year. It is Nikki Hayes in the number 5 for Cape Motorsports. Hayes on the podium as well. He'll start P5 inside of row number 3. Moving up to row 2 right now, just 14 years of age. What a weekend it's been for Nikita Johnson in the number 17 on the pole in race number 1. Watch for him to try to get back into the podium position. Johnson for VRD Racing is on the podium, as I said. Number 17, starting P4. Inside of row number 2, the Canadian from Oka, Quebec, Canada, Thomas Naveau in the number 10 for D-Force Racing. He will start in the 3rd spot, a podium in race number 1. Watch for Naveau to jump himself into the fight very quickly. But the front row dominated by Pabst Racing, these 2 drivers in a fight for the championship. On the outside of the front row in the number 22 Force Indy machine for Pabst Racing, that is New York's Miles Rowe, a 6-point lead heading into this final race of the 2022 season. If he finishes second with fast lap of the race, he will clinch the championship, but he's going to have to try to outduel his teammates starting on the pole position right now in that Radford Racing School, number 23 for Pabst Racing, the pole sitter with a 111.836 in qualifying. Jace Denmark won the final race at Toronto, won the opening race here as well to put himself in championship contention, just 7 points back. If he leads from start to finish with fast lap of the race, we will call Jace Denmark the champion of USF 2000 in 2022. It'll be Denmark and Rowe on row 1. Naveau and Johnson, row 2. Hayes and D'Orlando on row 3. Clark and Weir, row 4. Fraser and Christie on row 5. Brienza and Douglas, row 6. Garcias and Kolbecker, row 7. Dazelski and Papasavas, row 8. Jones and D'Orlando alongside each other on row 9. And Ho and Mann at the tail of the field, row number 10. Time to get things underway and fire up these engines. Joining me down here on pit lane, the Cooper Tire Girls to give us the command.
On behalf of Cooper Tires, Drivers, start your engines.
And that is the call of the fire for the final time here in the 2022 season. Engines coming to life for USF2000. Who's going to win the championship? Who will take $400,000 to Indy Pro in 2022?
All right, here we go. So, last race of the season for USF2000, we have a points battle. I will tell you, as they run right now, if they were to finish in the order without, fast lap, anything like that, they would be tied. And then we would go to total wins to determine the championship. But as of right now, as they run, as they get ready to roll off here pit lane and go, they're tied. So this is 7 points separates first, second, and third. It's going to be a points battle, but Phil, we're going to go racing at PIR.
What are we going to do in turn one?
That's going to be the question.
This race could be lost. It's not going to be won on the first lap.
Absolutely,
but
it can be
surely
lost.
can be lost. The championship could be lost.
Very, very easily. So we will see what happens here. Couple pace laps. They'll get formed up. They'll drop that green flag down that front straight, and then it's going to be turn one. Here we go. First race of 3 today, cannot wait.
Yeah, and the turn one grandstands is not full yet this morning, so even if you don't have a ticket to turn one, I'd be running down there right now. You got time to watch what happens. This is going to be awesome.
Cannot wait. Our good friend Rob Howden joining us in the booth. Now, you just talked about it on the entry. As they run without points or anything, they're tied.
Yeah,
we talked about this situation.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So
this is wild. Obviously, the race we had yesterday, guys, you know how crazy it was, the chaos in turn number 1. I guarantee Augie Papp sat his 2 drivers down and said, this is not going to happen tomorrow. You guys have a chance to win this title. They have I believe they have the team championship already locked up. But what's going to happen here right now? If Denmark sweeps the day, if he wins, he already has a bonus point for pole. If he gets fast lap of the race, that's another bonus point. Leads the most lap, another bonus point. If he does all that, he wins the championship. Rowe just needs to finish in second spot with the fast lap of the race. That would give him the title. D'Orlando a little farther back, but one wrinkle. They saved a set of brand new Cooper tires for this third race.
How was their team meeting? Would they let you in?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even go near that trailer, to be honest with you. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that trailer, but no, I stayed away, as most people I think did. Again, crazy this happened. Knowing that Rowe came in here with a 25-point lead, seeing that shrink now down just to 6 points. But this is it right now, folks. Let's get ready to go. The drivers have lined up 2 by 2, coming out of turn number 12. Time to cap off this year's Cooper Tires USF2000 championship season. It'll be one big rundown into turn number 1. We'll all hold our collective breaths for the last time in USF2000 for 2022. The drivers line it up, and we are green, green, green. Racing down into turn number 1. It'll be the drivers down the ball. And Denmark gets spun. Denmark gets spun. Contact coming into turn 1. Denmark gets spun. I believe that Miles Rowe potentially got into the back of him again for the second straight race. We have damage in turn number 1. 3 cars are there right now in turn 1 and 2. We'll definitely be going full course yellow. Not sure who has emerged with the lead right now. I think it may be Thomas Naveau, but disaster has struck again for Pabst Racing. They were looking to try to win a driver championship, and contact again. That's Miles Rowe off the racetrack. It is settled now. I think Michael D'Orlando is going to potentially grab this championship. We'll see what happens in terms of damage to the cars. I would expect we'll be full course yellow. Indeed, we are full course. They let the drivers go through 5 or 6 corners to kind of settle things down. But the one thing that Pabst Racing did not want to see happen has occurred. Contact between the leader, Jace Denmark, and I believe it might have been Miles Rowe. We'll get a replay when we can, guys, but that is exactly what that team did not want to see happen.
I don't think they even made it to turn 1. That's what's amazing about it.
Yeah, he was probably just starting to jump onto the brakes at that point, and I can tell you, when you're behind the wheel and you get hit like that, I just can't. I feel for Jace Denmark right now. He obviously just wanted to get through turn number 1. Unbelievable, the events that have occurred over these 3 races. Let's have a look at this as that is Rowe heading into pit lane right now, I believe. Let's have a look. They're coming down into turn 1. Everybody down to the bottom of the racetrack like they did yesterday, trying to block the bottom. Where's the contact coming? Coming into the corner. That was, I potentially think, Rowe getting into the... No, that might have been actually Naveau who potentially got into the back. So I mentioned Rowe. I think Rowe's clean through here. So it was not Miles Rowe who indeed made the contact. Let's have a look at that. Here's the inside one. They're coming in the corner, already going around. I have a feeling that potentially there's more contact there that's Jacob Douglas having trouble. He got into, I think, the side of Matt Clark coming into the corner as well. Jacob going too deep into the corner. He drives into the side of Clark. Let's have a look. We're going to zoom in on this one, folks. Have a close look here on the big boards. If you're at home, tune in here, see what we got going. Coming into the braking zone, I think it's going to be Naveau. Indeed, Naveau trying to come back across the racetrack to set up, and he gets into the left rear of Jace Denmark. Jace right across the racetrack. There's Nikita Johnson. He wasn't able to get the car turned. He's the one that makes contact with Rowe. So Miles Rowe got himself out of that position. Good job for Miles. He may be able to fight his way back forward. This yellow could help him get back on the racetrack. But that was indeed Thomas Naveau getting into the left rear of Jace Denmark, and the championship that Denmark had in front of him, right for the picking, goes away before they even have the turn-in into the opening corner of this racetrack. Bobby, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We talked about it yesterday. You got to maximize your opportunity, and unfortunately, it's gone sideways. And there's nothing he could have done about it.
Not at all. No, he's literally did everything he got himself to the bottom of the racetrack, was coming into the braking zone. Let's have one more look at this. We have a different angle here for you again, folks. Let's have a look what's happening here. This is a great shot, too. This is coming the other side of turn 2. We're not going to see any of the incidents. We'll see maybe later on what happens. There's Nikita Johnson to the side of Miles Rowe. There's D'Orlando coming through clean. Jacob Douglas gets into the back of Matt Clark, sends him around. He makes contact there with Nikita Johnson, I believe, as well. And you can see the drivers all trying to work through. I did see there was some damage to, I believe, the rear wing of Billy Fraser as well. That's D'Orlando coming around here in the number 4. He stays on the racetrack. Right behind him as well, Jorge Garcia is the number 9 getting through. There's another one of the Cape Motorsports cars. I think that might have been Jagger Jones, who started deep in the field. He's going to move his way up to 7th. So a ton of chaos here now. Wow. Nikita Johnson, he falls to the tail. Clark, Douglas, Denmark, of course. Rose back onto the racetrack, I believe, at this point. Fraser with rear wing damage. I would assume they'll probably get him in there. But you can see, I believe that's the car of Douglas that is stopped there. Or maybe that's, yeah, there's 2 cars there right now. One of them being Matt Clark. One of them, I believe, being Jacob Douglas. Douglas got into the back of Clark. And that's one thing. I talked to Matt Clark. He was our guest in the pre-show here as well. All he wanted to do was get through this weekend cleanly. No crash damage. He won the race yesterday. Had a fantastic run to 4th in the opening run of the triple header. Just trying to get away cleanly. And, of course, he was clean coming into the corner. Douglas just got overzealous coming in, got deep, locked the brakes up. And that was the contact there. And that was a little further back. Clark started in 7th. Douglas started deeper in 12th. So Jacob was making a move. There's the car on the hook of Nikita Johnson. His strong run here this weekend going awry. We'll see him back in this program in 2023 full time. Jacob Douglas will be back as well. So that caps off his program. And we know that the driver, Matt Clark, looking to be in USF2000 next year as well. He still has work to do, guys. He's got the USF Juniors Series, our development program, in a couple of weeks at COTA down in Circuit of the Americas. So he's got a championship still to win. But, again, all in all, a pretty good weekend for Matt Clark with that victory yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but taking full advantage of the opportunity.
100%.
And that.
Yep.
And what a great story for him yesterday. A great way to end the day. Fun Friday, as we called it.
Yep.
Now it's Serious Saturday.
It is. That's
Very serious.
To see what we've just seen, again, my heart goes out to Jace Denmark because, honestly, you're doing what you need to. You're protecting your line. You're going in, and you just get punted from the back.
for the second straight race.
Oh, it just...
Remember, he got taken out by his teammate yesterday.
Did.
Now he gets taken out by Thomas Naveau. I thought initially expected that it was Rowe that would have moved to the inside, and that might have been Rowe. But Rowe, of course, was the outside Thomas Naveau, who started in that third spot right behind Denmark, did not get off the gearbox, so didn't allow Rowe to come to the side. So almost lucky for Rowe to a certain extent.
Right.
He is back on the racetrack. They've been able to repair the number 22. So as they run on the racetrack right now, D'Orlando has a 9-point lead. Michael D'Orlando, third spot right now, is right now your provisional champion. But Miles Rowe in the 22 is going to be on the throttle. A full distance, 25-lap race. There's Miles Rowe right there. And I'll tell you, he's obviously now having to focus. You think about what happened yesterday, that mistake getting into the back of his teammate. How does that play on a young driver's mind, your psyche coming into the race. You have to compartmentalize everything again and stay focused on the job at hand. That was not his fault. Yesterday he made a mistake. It was his error. This time he just gets collected by Nikita Johnson. No fault of his own, but now he's got to come from 15th to try to see if he can't get himself forward. If you're around this racetrack right now, key on that number 22 red and black Force Indy machine for Pabst Racing. Miles Rowe is going to be on a tear, I guarantee it.
And he's still on the lead lap, which is crucial.
That's it. Yeah, the team got him back out. Whatever damage was done, they got him back out onto the lead lap. And I'm telling you, the number 22 is the guy to watch right now. He's going to be on a tear. But the front guys, we'll see what happens. We'll see if race control elects to potentially do something with Thomas Naveau right now for the contact. They could bring him in for a drive-through for avoidable contact. So that'll be, of course, let me look at the video. I guarantee it right now. We'll see how it all plays out. But right now, it's Thomas Naveau, P1, Nikki Hayes in second, Michael D'Orlando third, your provisional champion right now, leading by 9 points. Christian Weir moves up to fourth. Jorge Garcias, who started back in 13th, he gets through the chaos. He goes to P5. Dylan Christie in sixth. Jagger Jones back from 17th up to 7th, so a 10-position improvement for Jagger Jones. Spike Kohlbecker into 8th. Ivagoras Papasavas into 9th. And Joey Brienza, who tested on Thursday but only ran one race. He's doing 4 races this year to preserve his rookie status. He'll be in USF Juniors next year. Brienza now into 10th.
It doesn't help Denmark's situation at all, but thank goodness it was not his teammate.
I guess, so they're not going to be fighting when they get back to the paddock.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, I feel so bad for Jace. He was so good this weekend. Pabst Racing rolled off the trailer so tremendously at the start of this weekend. They were the quickest drivers to watch during the test session on Thursday, obviously qualifying on the pole. And again, he won Toronto, so he came in here with a bunch of momentum. Jace Denmark, I would have picked him to win the championship, just knowing how focused and how kind of calm he was throughout the entire weekend. But no fault of his own, for the second straight race, he finds himself off the racetrack with damage. And Jace Denmark, second-year driver in USF2000, put his eyes on Indy Pro 2000. He is a very talented young driver out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So I look to see Jace coming back next year in Indy Pro.
Wow. Well, we knew something was going to happen in Turn 1. We've seen it all weekend, but one race. You got one race clean yesterday.
Yeah, well, maybe Indy Pro. We have the Indy Pro 2000 drivers still to come out. We'll see whether or not they can learn from that and potentially get through the corner. But, man, a lot of times you'll see some of the chaos a bit further back. Someone, locking up and getting into the driver in front of them. Not so much, that move for the lead. I don't, tough one for sure. We're 4 laps into the yellow flag situation after the incident in turn number 1. We'll take the opportunity right now to say hello to all those of you who are tuned into the Road to Indy TV app or on Road to Indy TV's YouTube channel or on USF2000.com. We thank you for tuning into the broadcast throughout the entire 2022 season. Thomas Naveau is the leader. Nikki Hayes second. Michael D'Orlando third. Christian Weir and Jorge Garcias round out your top 5. And, man, these 2 Pabst Racing drivers were lined up ready to fight it out for the championship along with Michael D'Orlando. And, listen, just the tale of the 2 teams, the 3 different drivers. Pabst Racing rolled off so quickly. They were great, qualifying up front, starting on the front row. Michael D'Orlando actually had an issue on Thursday and got into the tire wall. Missed actually the opening practice session on Thursday afternoon. So he was kind of behind the 8 ball. You would have said D'Orlando didn't have a chance to win this because he had some issues. He was behind the 8 ball a little bit. But he's just stayed out of trouble. He's been the guy that hasn't been in this chaos and now finds himself P3 with a great race car and a 9-point lead on Miles Rowe. We'll see how it all plays out. Rowe's going to fight his way back forward. D'Orlando's going to have to try to get by his teammate Nikki Hayes, potentially up to the top spot with Thomas Naveau. That's the one thing. Up top, the points gap's a lot more, so Rowe's going to have to scrap it out. We're going back, green flag racing, and we are underway. Thomas Naveau will lead him out of turn number 12. Back to racing with 20 laps to go here in the final USF2000 race of the 2022 season. Let's see if they can get through cleanly. No, another driver potentially with contact there. You see a little bit of contact. I think that might have been D'Orlando going by Hayes. Another driver with wing damage. That is, I believe, Billy Fraser potentially. Some front wing damage. He goes through the shortcut as well. Got a driver slow on the outside of the racetrack. I think that may be Christian Weir. Not quite sure who's slow on that outside of the track there. But again, Naveau took the lead early. I believe D'Orlando has worked his way up into the second spot now. Indeed, he has. And Weir is still right there. So not Christian Weir is having the issue further back. We'll try to pick out who that is. That's, I think, Luke Mann. The 34 of Luke Mann was a driver who came back out onto the racetrack right as they went green. So he's allowing them to come through. Another driver dropping the wheel coming out of turn 4. So we're finally back to green flag racing. We'll single file it, let them all kind of space out a bit, then go to work. Kohlbecker making a move on Jones coming down the back straightaway as well. But Michael D'Orlando, I believe, going into second, crucial for him as, again, Miles Rowe is going to try to fight his way back forward. Here comes, I believe, there goes Lucas Mann into pit lane. Good call, coming to pit lane, let everybody come through. He'll do a drive-through. And that way, when he comes back, Lucas Mann just here for his first run of USF2000, and we expect to see him in 2023 with the team. There's the run down there. Michael D'Orlando has now taken the lead. D'Orlando has gone to P1. That was Thomas Naveau for a drive-through penalty. I said it was, I thought it was potentially Lucas Mann. No, that was Thomas Naveau. The contact between he and Jace Denmark leads to a drive-through penalty, and Michael D'Orlando has gone to the lead. He's got his teammate Nikki Hayes behind him. Christian Weir there as well. D'Orlando looking to try to win this championship with a race win. What a weekend it's been for the young driver out of Hartsdale, New York. He has a 15-point lead as they run on the racetrack. Miles Rowe has worked his way up into 12th. The key here for D'Orlando, can he put the fast lap down to get the bonus point? Can he lead the most laps now? If he leads here to the checker, he'll lead the most laps. That's another bonus point. This is unbelievable how this is all played out now. And again, Lucas Mann has gone into pit lane in the number 34 machine. 5 drivers out now. Mann, Denmark, Johnson. Another driver's gone off over in turn number 11. The 10, 11, 12 complex driver off the racetrack. Can't quite pick up who that is. We'll have a look again when they start falling down the orders. The drivers come across, start, finish. But that driver having to work their way back on. We think that might have been the 11 of Dylan Christie. Indeed, Dylan Christie in the D-Force Racing number 11 has fallen down the order as well. So top 4 drivers, stack them and pack them. It is D'Orlando, Hayes, Weir, and Jones. That is the 3 Cape Motorsports cars here in their final race. We'll say goodbye to Nicholas and Dominic Cape from USF2000, the longtime juggernauts, legends of 2-liter racing here in North America. They're going to head to Indy Lights in 2023. And will they go out in style right now with a championship with the driver's title? D'Orlando, Hayes, and Jones, all 3 of their drivers running in the top 4, sandwiching young Christian Weir. What a day it's been so far. Miles Rowe now up into the 10th position. He's worked his way to P10. Right behind now, Ethan Ho. How far can Miles Rowe work his way forward? Can he get himself up to a place where he can potentially steal this championship out of the grasps of Nicholas D'Orlando, or rather Michael D'Orlando? Unbelievable run here so far.
Up to 10th already.
He's into P10. Lots of time still as well. Lots of times another driver's dropped the wheel coming through. One of the J. Howard driver development cars has gone off coming through turn number 11 and 12. We've seen a number of drivers struggle with that corner. I think could have been Papa Sabas. Yes, Ivagoras Papa Sabas has fallen down. He'll go back into 13th position. Dylan Christie now 14th. Thomas Naveau in 15th spot. So that's going to move Rowe up to 8th. It's a 10-point lead. Miles Rowe up into the 8th position. What a drive forward for the young pilot from New York, New York. Miles Rowe, who won his first race in his rookie season at New Jersey Motorsports Park last year for Force Indy, moved over to the powerhouse Pabst Racing for 2022. And, man, he has had a tremendous season, winning races throughout the season here. But can he put one in here to potentially get himself back to where he needs to be? Miles Rowe, 5 wins on the season. For D'Orlando, just the 3. So even if he wins here, if they had a tiebreaker, the tiebreaker would go to most wins. So Miles Rowe has that in his back pocket. If it's a tie in points, Miles Rowe would take the championship based on most race wins, 5-4. But D'Orlando needs to get this job done here right now. He thankfully has his teammates to potentially help him out here. Nikki Hayes just a half a second back, a Christian Weir and Jagger Jones. The lead stretching away for D'Orlando now 0.7 of a second. He does not have fast lap of the race. That is Thomas Naveau. This could come down to the fast lap, Phil, the bonus point for fast lap, because right now D'Orlando, if he is able to get the checkered flag here and lead the rest of the laps, he'll get that the point that he needs for leading the most circuits. But, man, it could come down to fast lap of the race.
And as we're talking, Rowe's up another spot.
He's up to 7th. It's now 9 points. 9 points separate first and second. Chaos at the start of this race. Now we are on it. A battle to see who is going to come away with the championship worth over $406,000. That money going to the program at Indy Pro 2000 in 2023. For these drivers, they're all looking to continue their career. And for both D'Orlando and Rowe, it may be what they need to keep that career going. Those aspirations of being an NTT IndyCar Series driver, keeping them alive here in USF2000. What a finish to the season right now as we're 9 laps in. Still a long way to go. 16 laps still remaining. It'll be 15 when they come back around. D'Orlando was leading by 0.7 of a second. Rowe only 1.7 now behind Spike Kohlbecker. Rowe up into the 7th spot. Here's your top 10. D'Orlando with the lead, a half a second now over Hayes. Weir still 3rd. Jones in 4th. Jones looking to the inside of Weir in turn 1. The big gap back now to Jorge Garcias in 5th. Spike Kohlbecker 6th. Miles Rowe 7th. He's cut in to Kohlbecker's gap there. 1.1 back now for Rowe. Billy Fraser up into the 8th position. Danny Dzelski runs 9th. And Nicholas D'Orlando rounding out the current top 10. He's got Joey Brienza in 11th, Ethan Ho in 12th, Ivagors Papasavas in 13th, Dylan Christie 14th, and Thomas Naveau rounding out the top 15. 15 drivers remain on the racetrack, a 0.6 of a second lead for Michael D'Orlando up front.
And you got to make the moves. Not a lot of time, 25-lap race. We're already getting close to approaching halfway already.
Indeed, the fuel levels will be going down. Cars potentially getting lighter and lighter for these drivers to turn fast laps. Miles Rowe with fast lap right now, 112.965. That is a bonus point. It's still 9 points, I believe. 8 or 9 points the gap right now for Rowe. He's got to keep working his way forward. D'Orlando, though, has the lead. Hayes, Weir, Jones, and Garcias. Garcias has Kohlbecker right there. Here comes Rowe. He's got it down now to what behind Kohlbecker? He looks like he was potentially on the gearbox there as they're working their way down. Not quite the gearbox. Call it 6 car lengths. He is now 4/10 back. He just made up 0.8 of a second. Miles Rowe going to work now on Kohlbecker. Wow, there they are there coming out of that turn number 1, 2, 3 combination. What a storyline we've had throughout this weekend. Miles Rowe came in with a 25-point lead over Michael D'Orlando. Really just had to kind of settle in and have 3 strong runs. Could have been top 5 in all 3 races and likely won this championship. But an issue with he and Nikita Johnson went off the racetrack in turn number 11 in race 1. Had the contact, ran in the back of Jace Denmark in race number 2 right at the start. And then here, this time, not of his own doing. The chaos between Naveau and Denmark sends Nikita Johnson into Rowe. He is now working his way back forward. This is going to be a crazy finish for sure as Rowe scrapping away. He's going to try to get by. We expect Kohlbecker next time down the straightaway. He's right on Kohlbecker here now. Yeah, he's within a length and a half. So watch for Rowe to make a move potentially to the inside of turn number 1 now. He is going to be aggressive because he knows this championship hanging in the balance. 14 laps remaining. Call it 13 when they come across the line. Watch for Rowe to make a move to the bottom. He's not close enough. One of the issues, of course, coming through turn number 11 and 12 is you could potentially get that aero wash where the air from the front wing is punched away from the driver in front of you because you're in the draft, and you lose that front end, and that's when you're not able to get back to the throttle quick enough coming through turn 11 and 12. Rowe's going to potentially have to get it done down into turn number 9. A little bit better opportunity, or rather into turn number 10. We've seen a couple drivers Phil do that throughout this weekend.
Without a caution, do you think he's got the speed to get there with this many laps left?
I do. Indeed. He just did a 112.7. He was 0.4 quicker than D'Orlando last time by. He is 5.4 back. Yeah, there's an opportunity he can still get on the podium right now. He'll have to get aggressive on Kohlbecker. You can't wait. He's got to get by Kohlbecker, get by Garcias, because then it's 3 seconds up the road to Jagger Jones. But the big thing for Miles Rowe is once he gets to P5, there are 2 Cape Motorsports drivers that are going to make it very hard for him to try to reach the teammates. So right now, Rowe doing everything he can. He's back by 9 points, putting the pressure here on Kohlbecker. Can he get the job done this time? Pretty good run out of the corner. He'll get the draft down the straightaway. And indeed, right there, this time he's a lot closer. He's going to have to send it down to the inside pretty soon, within a length coming down into turn number 1. Does he make the move to the bottom of the racetrack? Have a look to see if he's coming through. He does. To the inside. Book it. He's through. What a pass there for Miles Rowe. Calculated move into the inside of turn number 1. Kohlbecker wisely lets him go. Spike needs a good race here. P6 to be strong. He's in 7th right now. Rowe has worked his way up to 6th. D'Orlando, we'll see what he's able to do. And listen, Jace Denmark's back on the racetrack. Denmark back on the track in the number 23 machine. They were able to get that car fixed for Denmark. Unbelievable. What a great job for Pabst Racing getting both of their cars back on the track. Denmark down by 5 laps back. He is still 3rd spot in the points. I don't think he can go any farther forward, obviously, unless either of those drivers do have trouble. That's the one thing. What if D'Orlando and Rowe have some issues and go out? Denmark back on the racetrack, crucial, because you never know what's going to happen in terms of attrition.
You've got to stay on the track just in case, especially with the championship on the line.
100% agree. Let's see what happens here now with Rowe. Can he make quick work of Jorge Garcias as well? There they are coming out of 12. He is right on him. Watch for a big move to the inside again for Miles Rowe to try to make that move to the bottom of the racetrack. Not quite close enough this time. And you can also see that Billy Fraser, the number 92 for Exclusive Autosport in that Corpay machine, has worked his way up to the gearbox of Cole Becker as well. So Fraser trying to get another great finish to cap off the 2022 season. He was on the podium yesterday. Can he get himself a top 5 here today? Fraser on the move. He's got the 5th fastest lap of the race so far. Denmark, though, with the quickest lap, a 1:12.647. Weir with the second quickest lap. Rowe, Jones, and Fraser. Those are the 5 fastest laps, but the bonus point right now going to Jace Denmark. 9 points separate D'Orlando and Rowe still. As when we come back around, it'll be 10 to go. Top four drivers separated by just 1.3 seconds. They're essentially nose to tail, as D'Orlando has not been able to pull away out front from his teammate Nikki Hayes. But I'll tell you, I think Nikki Hayes is going to play the perfect wingman here. There's no way he's going to try to make a move here right now to potentially pull away at what could be a championship for Cape Motorsports. It would be an amazing send-off for this team that is absolutely legendary in USF2000 racing. They've won countless championships over the last 3 decades. When we restarted USF2000 back in 2010, the first 10 years, they won 8 of the 10 championships with drivers. Amazing pilots who have run for Cape Motorsports. And that is your lead quartet right there. D'Orlando, Hayes, Weir, and Jones. And he's by. That is Rowe by Garcia. So he has gone to P5. Miles Rowe into 4th position now, but it'll be almost 4 seconds behind the lead 4 drivers. Now it's time for Miles Rowe to have open racetrack. This is where you tap all the talent that you have. You put your head down, and he's got to turn pole qualifying laps, lap after lap after lap. He has got to do everything he can to get up there, and then when he gets to Jagger Jones, he's got to make quick work of him.
And the teammates are not going to make it easy on him. There's no way. The more you get towards the front, the harder it is to pass.
And listen, like I said, there's all 3 Cape Motorsport drivers in the top 4. First, you got to get by Jones. He's going to make it unbelievably difficult. Then you got to get by Christian Weir. He's not going to want to give up a podium spot. Neither is Nikki Hayes. So even if Rowe gets there, it is going to be unbelievably tough for him to get his way forward. But we will look at lap times. We'll look at the split to find out how things shake down. Recapping that opening run there to turn number 1. Thomas DeVoe getting into the left rear of pole sitter Jace Denmark, sending him around. The chain reaction, chaos in turn 1. A number of drivers out. Jacob Douglas, Matt Clark, Nikita Johnson all out of the race. And Rowe now just 7 points back. He turns a 1:12.73 tenths quicker, but he's 4.8 seconds behind D'Orlando, 3.6 seconds behind Rowe. 9 laps to go. He's going to have to essentially be about a half a second faster every lap if he wants to close up. He was 4 tenths quicker than Jones last time by. Rowe's got to put his head down. He doesn't have the fast lap of the race either. Denmark has that. He would love to have that bonus point too. D'Orlando has gone 16 laps up front. So or probably 14 laps up front. So that means he's got that bonus point locked for most laps led. So there's an opportunity there for another bonus point. 7 points back for Rowe. What a way to finish off this USF2000 season. So many talented drivers in the series this year. The 2 best rookies we've had, Nikki Hayes and Jagger Jones. Jones won up at Barber Motorsports Park earlier in the year. Not having the best of weekends here for Jagger Jones, but the chaos allowed him to get up into P4. We'll see where Jagger ends up in 2023. And again, let's have a look at the gap. It was 3.6 seconds behind Jones. This time it is 3.2, makes up 4 tenths of a second, but only 8 laps remaining. Can Michael D'Orlando come away with a USF2000 championship? He was the runner-up last year, Phil, the bridesmaid. Came back this year with one reason, and that was to try to win this championship to go to Indy Pro 2000. Here's a driver that doesn't have the budget to go to Indy Pro. They would have to scrape, find the investors, sponsors. That $400,000 would go a long way to furthering the career of Michael D'Orlando.
I mean, you feel bad for Denmark, but here's an opportunity for this driver right here.
Indeed, that's exactly that. And Miles Rowe just turned the fast lap of the race as well. Put it down to 6 points. 6 points between first and second right now. D'Orlando with 387. He's 6 points ahead of Miles Rowe. 8 laps to go. It'll be 7 when they come back around. Rowe with 3.2 seconds back. What an absolutely intriguing finale weekend here. Nothing you could have ever scripted with the issues for Rowe. Rowe almost, you see the big wiggle coming through turn number 11. He is hanging that thing on the ragged edge right now. That's what he has to do. Like I said, these have to be qualifying laps. Every lap's going to be a pole qualifying lap. He got down to a 112.4 last time by, a full second quicker than Jones. He just got it down to 2.3. He is a full second faster with 7 to go.
He is coming.
This is crazy. Miles Rowe digging deep. Everything he's got as a second-year driver. Got the opportunity to come to USF2000 after being 4 years away from a race car. Penske coming, Roger Penske stepping up with his program to put him in that Force Indy car last year. This year it's obviously Ernie Francis in the Indy Lights program, but an opportunity for Miles Rowe to come into the program. Just enough money to start the season, had some good runs, led the points. Roger stepping up and making sure he had the money for the full season. He's trying to pay back the captain here today, closing up on Jagger Jones. He was almost a full second faster than Jones last time by. This is shaping up to be an epic battle, one for the ages here in USF 2000. Rowe absolutely dancing this car on the razor's edge, as I had said, pushing everything, the full limit of the Pabst Racing Tatis USF 22. What does he get this time? He continues to push. How much faster than Jones? 2.3 seconds was the gap back to Jagger Jones. What is Rowe done this time by? It is now 1.9, 4/10 of a second. And look at this. There's a move there. Weir trying to go by Nikki Hayes. That has stacked it up a little bit. Almost contact there as Weir trying to get the second. Nikki Hayes has got to hold Weir off, but this is allowing Jones to get closer. And Rowe, they're right there. Look how much closer Rowe is coming through turn number 4. Behind this lead battle, Jorge Garcias runs in 6th. Billy Fraser up to 7th. Spike Kohlbecker in 8th. Danny Zazelski 9th. And Nicholas D'Orlando rounding out the top 10. Fraser trying to see if he can't find a way by Garcias, the Jay Howard driver development pile. That would be his best finish of the season for the young Mexican. But up front, it's D'Orlando, Hayes, Weir, Jones, and Rowe. The top 5 separated by just 3.7 seconds now. Rowe could potentially run out of laps. He keeps digging. Last time by, Rowe was 4/10 quicker than the leader. 3.7 back, 6 laps. That does not do it. This thing is rolling to the way of Michael D'Orlando. Rowe just 6 points back. He doesn't need to win the race. I believe he may get it done if he goes to second. That's the key. He's got fast lap of the race as well. The way this is playing out is unbelievable. It's crazy to think. The scrap we've got going right now, there's a potential for Miles Rowe to come where he was to get himself back into the championship. Crazy. If he gets to second spot with a fast lap, that would be 389. I want to say that if he gets to second with fast lap, he may be able to steal this championship away, but it's not done yet.
Getting closer to 4th now, too, so still got a little, about what, 5 to go.
Only 7/10 of a second back. He was 8/10 quicker than Jagger Jones last time by. I believe he may need to get to second to get this done, though. Rowe still with the fast lap of 112.4. It may come up just short for Miles Rowe, but he is not going to give up. 5 laps to go, 4 to go next time by. Michael D'Orlando getting it done. Nikki Hayes enough in front of Weir that there won't be an incident there. If those two drivers got together and took each other out, that would immediately move Rowe up to 3rd. So Nikki Hayes, for the benefit of his teammate, needs to stay away from Christian Weir. Weir trying to see if he can't get back on the podium in that number 32 machine, the driver out of Illinois. First full season running in USF 2000. Tremendous talent. Great to see him in Turn 3 Motorsport running at the pointy end of the grid. Rowe now closing back up. He's a half a second back. You know they're on the radio telling Miles Rowe what he's got to do here. You've got to get to P2. Based on the points possibility chart that I have here right now, if he finishes second, it's 388 points. Add the fast lap, it'll be 389. Michael D'Orlando winning puts him to 387. The most laps led would be 388. It would be a 1-point victory for Rowe if he gets to second. D'Orlando's going to find some speed. He's not showing any kind of speed that's going to put him P1 in the speed chart. So he's not. I don't think he's up for the fight for the fast lap of the race. So literally, if Miles Rowe can go to second, he will take this championship. That's where I believe he needs to be. I don't think he gets it done from 3rd. 3rd would be 385. He would lose the championship by likely 3 points if he gets to 3rd spot. He's got to go P2. Rowe doing everything he can to close. 3 laps to go.
almost has to pass a car per lap.
And the thing is, he's got to get the job done or have some help from somebody else. If Weir and Hayes get together, if they scrap a little bit and check everybody up, that will be the deal. But Nikki Hayes holding about a 6-car length lead over Christian Weir. That could be the biggest thing right now for Michael D'Orlando if Hayes able to hold him off. Rowe closing from P5. 3 laps remaining in the 2022 Cooper Tires USF2000 championship season. And Michael D'Orlando, who on Thursday you would have said was a long shot to potentially fight his way back into the championship, finds himself P1 and potentially the champion to go to Indy Pro 2000 next year. What a story that would be for Michael D'Orlando. As I said, the bridesmaid last year, the runner-up to Kiko Porto with the championship, came back for one reason and one reason only: win the title, get the scholarship, extend the career aspirations. Will he get it done here? A little bit of luck with the chaos on the opening corner. Actually, some luck throughout the entire weekend with the chaos that we've seen in turn number 1, 2, and 3. He'll work his way down the back straightaway. Rowe now close to Jagger Jones. Rowe's going to have to make it work here. He's 6 points back. He does have fast lap of the race, as we said. Miles Rowe, again, showing everything he's got. Watch for a move here in turn number 1. Jagger Jones. Here comes Miles Rowe. This kid is going to send it down to turn number 4. He's got to do it. It's checkers or wreckers. Closed it into him. Down into the braking zone. Does he make the move to the bottom of the racetrack? Rowe to the inside, side by side. No, backs out of it. Rowe thinks better of it. A wise move there. Again, this is an opportunity for him to win this championship. Does Miles Rowe get a chance to move on if he doesn't win this title? I don't know. Looking to the inside of turn number 4. Not quite there. But listen, someone's got to step up. Some people have to step up. This young driver is a talent. He's working hard on the mental side of the game as well. He's shown it with 5 race wins here in USF2000, deserving of a shot to move into Indy Pro 2000. I hope he gets the opportunity because he is a talent. Fighting his way from the very tail of the field after the incident, Phil, to get himself to P5, knocking on the door P4.
Like you said, even without a championship, somebody's got to pick this young man up.
Yeah, indeed. Talent. He just needs some support to keep moving forward. Rowe is all over Jagger Jones. And I'll tell you, Jagger is being the wingman right now to his Maverick up front, because that is Michael D'Orlando. He is getting help from Jagger Jones, holding back Rowe. I think if Rowe makes the move, it's not even done yet. 23 laps to make it 24. White flag flying. Final lap here. D'Orlando. This is side-by-side action right now. Oh, there's Weir up over top of the racetrack. This is going to be a potential shot here for Rowe. Rowe trying to get by. Look at this finish. Weir tried to make a move. Went up over top of the curbing. Hayes cleaned up into second. I think that's going to be enough, though, as Rowe pushing hard to try to find a way by. Weir now having to hold off Jones. Will it be a Cape Motorsports 1, 2, 3 to cap off their long career in USF2000? D'Orlando, your leader, coming through turn number 6. He is going to try to take this thing home. Rowe with nowhere to go. D'Orlando up by a second at the line. Down the back straightaway. All he has to negotiate is 10, 11, and 12. Do you believe in miracles in racing? Unbelievable. He came in with a 25-point deficit to Miles Rowe. And right now, the Cape Motorsports driver, 3 more corners to go. Does he get through? Clean through 10, 11, 12. He's grabbing gears on the front straightaway. What a career moment for the driver who finished second last year. For 2022, the USF2000 champion is Michael D'Orlando. D'Orlando, there's the Cape Motorsports boys. Dominic and Nicholas Cape, legends in 2-liter racing. They say goodbye to our program. Head to Indy Lights as driver champion again. Miles Rowe cooking it down into turn number 1. He'll take the escape route. Michael D'Orlando is your champion by 6 points over Miles Rowe. Jace Denmark third, 24 points back. A story you couldn't have written coming in here, Phil. The weekend was absolutely chaotic, and Michael D'Orlando, after finishing second last year, will stand atop the podium as our champion for 2022.
Not who I expected to see. We started the race, we expected to see it the other way around, but again, turn 1 has been the issue, and
unbelievable.
The difference.
The margin of victory, 1.1 seconds for Michael D'Orlando. Nikki Hayes ends up in second. Christian Weir in third. That's your podium. Jagger Jones holding back a charging Miles Rowe, 4th and 5th. Jorge Garcia's his best finish of the year in 6th. Mike Kohlbecker's 7th. Danny Dzelski 8th, Joey Brienza 9th, and Billy Fraser, who is fighting up there with Garcias, ends up falling to the 10th position. Ivagor's Papasabas in 11th, Ethan Ho 12th, Thomas Naveau comes back to 13th, Dylan Christie 14th, Nicholas D'Orlando, who is 10th, falls back as well. He's 4 laps down. Denmark, Mann, Johnson, Clark, and Douglas capping off the 20 that started this race. But Michael D'Orlando, you got to think the absolute explosion of emotions coming out of turn number 12 and across the line. Just looking to the thought coming into the weekend, how hard it would have been for him to win this championship. But he is going to get the job done, and you're going to see some emotion when he gets out of that race car on pit lane. Nikki Hayes in second, so 2 Cape Motorsports cars on the podium. 1-2 for Nicholas and Dominic Cape to cap off, as I said, a illustrious career as part of the USF2000 paddock. So many driver championships, so many team championships, and we, of course, wish them the best of luck as they go to tackle Indy Lights in 2023. There is your championship standings. It ends up being 6 points. Michael D'Orlando making up a 25-point deficit over the weekend. He is your champion for this year, and a guy who came so close last year ends up actually getting the dream done here today. D'Orlando, Rowe, Denmark, Jagger Jones, and Billy Fraser rounding out the top 5 in points. Great rookie season for Jagger Jones, top rookie of the program. Billy Fraser as well, strong season. He had a lot of ups and downs, but here it is right here, folks. I'm telling you, the emotion here will be crazy for Michael D'Orlando. You can see the relief. The relief for D'Orlando as he is a champion. Here comes Nikki Hayes, his teammate. Wow. You think about what these drivers go through and what they're trying to accomplish and do whatever they can to keep the career going. Brendan Puderbach, his mechanic, on that car all weekend long. And wait till the Cape boys come in. There they are. There's Dominic Cape, again, one of the legends of our sport. You'll see Nicholas coming in here momentarily as well. But what an unbelievable day for Michael D'Orlando. There's Nicholas Cape right there. Wow. Just the emotion, of course, behind this because, again, this is an opportunity to continue your career. This is, here's a guy that does not have the funding needed to go to Indy Pro 2000. He's going to get that from Anderson Promotions on the road to Indy. This is a series when you deliver, you're going to get your dreams continued, Phil, and that's the amazing thing. One of the things that one of our former champions, Victor Franzoni, once said is that the scholarship, it doesn't just give you opportunity, it gives you dreams.
Yes, you got to feel bad for Denmark, of course.
Of course.
But you got to be happy for our champion.
I feel bad for obviously Miles Rowe and Jace Denmark, both those drivers in a championship battle, but this opportunity here for them to be able to show what they can do. I hope to see both those drivers along with D'Orlando and Indy Pro 2000 next year.
You kind of call this the training series, but the racing I've seen the last 2 days, oh no, this has been the show.
Indeed, it's been fantastic. I'm going to head to Victory Lane. I'll leave it to you.
Hey,
we'll be rolling up here pretty soon.
You got her. Rob on his way down to Victory Lane. Going to be a lot of excitement down there.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
karting and motorsport enthusiasts. Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
After Ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go down here in Victory Lane. What a way to cap off the 2022 season for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. The battle coming down to that wreck in turn number 1. Miles Rowe coming from the tail of the field to fight his way back forward to P5. But the driver who ends up with the championship, which we'll do here in a bit, runner-up last year, an amazing opportunity to get it done this year. But let's start with the top 3. Driver coming home third, a young pilot we look forward to seeing continue his way up the road to Indy for Turn 3 Motorsport. Third place, Christian Weir. And to present the trophy for Christian, Marianne Burgoon from PFC. She helped us out yesterday and will bring Christian his third place trophy. What a wild finish at the end of that one. 4 drivers battling up front, scrapping out for position. Miles Rowe working his way back forward. He ends up second in the points. Thank you so much, Marianne. We appreciate it. Coming home in the second spot here today for Cape Motorsports, Nikki Hayes. Back on the podium again. And to present Nikki with his second place trophy from Cooper Tires, Chris Pantani. Great job for Nikki Hayes, rookie in the program this year. Watch for him to come back in USF2000 next year and be a championship contender. Anytime you win a championship, the best way to do it is to win the race. You're able to stand on top of the podium and celebrate. This driver has fought so hard to get this title. Last year, the runner-up, so close. This year, came in with a 25-point deficit, but somehow comes away with the championship, folks. The race winner today, a round of applause for Michael D. Orlando. Michael, unbelievable. I knew the emotion was going to be big when you came out of the car. Can you walk me through that? How did you feel coming across the line?
I can't even explain these emotions. I've had this dream since I was 6 years old, maybe even younger. It's been in my blood since, and becoming a champion has always been a dream of mine. And although this is only a step on the way to IndyCar, it makes things a lot easier for me. So I'd like to thank every single one of you guys. Cape Motorsports, Rising Star Racing, all of my sponsors for coming out. You've made this possible. We are the champions!
Hop up on top here, my friend. Hey, you know what? We got a trophy here to bring it up, and we're going to get his brother, Nicholas D'Orlando, is going to present him with the trophy. I like it. I've been able to watch these two young drivers work their way up. Here comes mom and dad as well. You can see the emotion, of course, in their faces, and it's just the work that gets done throughout the season and throughout the career. As they're watching these young drivers come up through karting and then get an opportunity to win here. Michael D'Orlando, the champion this year. We'll have present a championship trophy here momentarily, but he wins here in the final race of the 2022 season. Nikki Hayes in second and Christian Weir, a great run to third. How about a round of applause for my podium here, folks, the future stars in the NTT IndyCar Series. We'll get the D'Orlandos off to the side. We'll be back up here, of course, to celebrate the championship. We'll get the photos that we need here. I'll tell you, these young drivers just a couple steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. That scholarship that Michael won will send him to the Indy Pro 2000 next year. What's our next move? I think we got a lot of great kids here from Kids on Track, our High Tide Kids on Track program. Every time we go to races, we bring some the local kids to come out to enjoy a weekend at the track through our pad. They get a chance to meet a lot of our drivers. We bring them onto the podium here as well for a photo. So come on up here, guys, and work your way around the podium. High Tide Boat Lifts are sponsor of our Kids on Track program. Championship trophy waiting in the wings. Our championship celebration tomorrow evening, where all these drivers will get an opportunity to dress up and celebrate their performances on the year. Dan Anderson, the CEO of Anderson Promotions, will present the trophy along with Chris Pantani to Michael D'Orlando, who, as I said, almost insurmountable deficit, 25 points back coming into the weekend. Was able to avoid all the chaos throughout Friday and Saturday to get himself where he needs to be. Winning that race, able to get out front. Nikki Hayes playing his wingman. Didn't let anybody come through. Christian Weir finishing in third spot. A great run. Way to cap off the season for Christian. So champagne's going to come in next. We'll do the champagne celebration. Then we'll be able to bring that championship trophy in. Let these drivers celebrate the success of the day before Michael celebrates the success of the season. All right, lads, grip it and rip it. The celebration for D'Orlando. Weir's getting in there as well. That is it. Champagne flying. Guys, congratulations. What a tremendous day here for all three of you. And, of course, Michael D'Orlando. Nikki and Christian, you can exit the podium. We've got one more presentation to get done here before we wrap things up. Indy Pro 2000 lining up for a race this afternoon as well. Michael, you stay up on top of the podium there, my friend. We got the champion's hat coming in here. And as they've done for the last 12 years, folks, Chris Pantani and Dan Anderson rolling in here. These are of course, Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires, our primary partner of this program. We are thrilled to be working with Cooper Tires every year. Dan Anderson, of course, the CEO of Anderson Promotion, to present this trophy to Michael D'Orlando, one he came so close to winning last year. The tears flowing as he worked his way up here to the podium, the whole family as well. There's the championship trophy one more time, folks. A round of applause for Michael D'Orlando, the 2022 USF2000 champion. Cape Motorsports does it again in the send-off from USF2000. Again, we wish them the absolute very best as they move to Indy Lights in 2023. They have done it once again. They have got a driver championship with Michael D'Orlando. What a tremendous day for D'Orlando as he is able to lead that quartet train up front. He ends up with a point, 6 points up on Miles Rowe, who finishes second, Jace Denmark. ends up finishing third in the championship after the contact in turn number 1. But that caps things off from the podium. We'll be taking a bunch of pictures here, folks. Indy Pro 2000 up later on today. But for the final time, we'll sign off with a congratulations to the new Cooper Tires USF2000 champion, Michael D. Orlando.